The mind that isn't yours. Step number 1, the forbidden lesson. I didn't notice it at first. It was subtle. Almost polite. A suggestion here, a thought there. Someone, or something, was shaping how I felt. At first, I dismissed it as coincidence. A fleeting mood swing. A bad day. But then I realized, my anger wasn't mine. My fear wasn't mine. Even the joy I felt sometimes, felt borrowed. And by the time I realized it, I was already halfway trapped. Half my mind, someone else's playground. Most people think they control their thoughts. They don't. Not entirely. Not when others, friends, lovers, colleagues, know exactly which buttons to press. Which fears to whisper to. Which desires to manipulate. If you're watching this now, maybe you're already at risk. Maybe someone is testing the edges of your psyche while you sleep, while you scroll, while you think you're free. And if you don't pay attention, the part of you that you thought was yours might already belong to someone else.
Step number 2, signs you're being controlled. The first sign is subtle. A flicker of doubt. A feeling of unease that you can't name. I noticed it in my emotions before I noticed it in my actions. Sudden anger at small things that never bothered me before. Unexplained sadness that hit at random hours. Irrational fear, not tied to reality. Compulsions I couldn't explain, checking the door, rereading old messages, replaying conversations in my head. Contrast is what makes this so terrifying. One moment, I laughed at a joke. The next, I couldn't move without hesitation, my mind asking, is this what I want to do, or is it what I've been told to feel? Other people went about their lives normally. I didn't. It was like I was living someone else's version of myself, while trying to convince myself I was still free. Signs aren't always obvious. Sometimes the manipulator hides in plain sight. A friend who just cares might comment on your moods, subtly nudging your reactions. A partner who always knows what you should feel might be collecting emotional data. A boss, a teacher, a stranger, even a faceless presence online. The trap is simple: gain trust, observe reactions, then exploit them. And if you're not aware, by the time you notice, the invasion is nearly complete. I noticed when I smiled at something that wasn't funny. I felt anger when there was no reason. I questioned reality in ways I never had before. It wasn't paranoia, it was programming. A subtle, insidious hijacking of my psyche. Step number 3, the source of control. The source is almost never obvious. In my case, it started as a friend. Someone who seemed harmless, someone I trusted. They watched me. They listened. They made small suggestions. Don't get too excited about that. You'll regret feeling that way. Are you sure that's what you want to feel? At first, I laughed it off. But later, I realized they were testing me. Every reaction I had, every emotional twitch, they observed and catalogued. They knew what made me anxious. They knew what made me joyful. They even began predicting my reactions, before I could even have them. It's horrifying when you notice. The manipulator can invade your mind so completely that your own thoughts feel alien. I started experiencing moments where my own decisions felt guided. A choice to text someone. A decision to walk down a street. Even small gestures became influenced by someone else's invisible hand. And here's the worst part. Even when the manipulator isn't present, their influence lingers. Your own mind doubts itself. You second-guess emotions that are, in reality, yours, but now feel foreign. That's when horror becomes personal. When reality fractures. When you realize that losing control of your mind doesn't just make you scared. It makes you uncertain if you ever existed as yourself. Step number 4, the descent. I ignored the signs. I wanted to believe it was all in my head. Big mistake. By the third week, it felt like I was split in two. One part of me, the me I thought I was, tried to resist. The other, the part being guided, obeyed almost automatically. I started keeping notes in a diary. I smiled at something that wasn't funny. I can't tell if I'm laughing or if it's someone else laughing through me. I felt rage today, but there was no cause. My own thoughts feel like borrowed scripts. Every interaction with others became exhausting. I couldn't tell if my reactions were genuine. I didn't know if my choices were mine. The manipulator's power grew with every hesitation, every doubt. I realized then the horrifying truth: emotions are energy. And if you allow someone else to feed on yours, they can replace what's lost with what they want. The turning point came when I tried to argue back. Every word I thought I wanted to say. I could hear their voice in my head, whispering, guiding, correcting. I wasn't speaking. I was reciting their version of myself. That's the moment fear became tangible. Because I realized, if I didn't act, would be overridden completely. Step number 5, the awakening / how to protect your psyche. That's when I decided to fight back. To reclaim my emotions. To reclaim my mind. Step 1, awareness. I began to track my feelings obsessively. Every spike of fear, anger, joy, or doubt, I noted. I compared them to my environment, my thoughts, my intentions. I had to differentiate the genuine me from the echo of manipulation. Step 2, boundaries. I stopped sharing internal thoughts with anyone who made me uncomfortable. I learned to recognize subtle emotional nudges and voice them internally. This is mine. Not yours. Step 3, emotional hygiene. Meditation, breathing exercises, and mindfulness helped me reclaim space in my mind. I visualized a mental lock on my emotions. No one could enter without permission. Even subtle manipulations began to fail. Step 4, selective exposure. I distanced myself from individuals who fed off my energy. I restricted social media consumption. I realized the mind is a battlefield, and some people are trained predators, exploiting attention and emotion. Step 5, internal dialogue. Every time doubt or fear entered my mind unnaturally, I questioned it. Is this mine, or have I been influenced? Step number 6, empowerment through knowledge. I studied psychological manipulation, behavioral tactics, and emotional control. Awareness became armor. Over weeks, I regained control. It wasn't perfect. The manipulator's influence lingered like a shadow. But I reclaimed my autonomy. Contrast, I had gone from someone who felt every tiny suggestion, every hidden push, every emotional theft, to someone who could recognize, resist, and reclaim. And the knowledge I gained became a warning: most people never realize they're being controlled. Last warning. Here's the truth. You are always vulnerable. Even now, as you watch this, someone, or something, could be testing the edges of your psyche. The lesson is simple, terrifying, and empowering. Your emotions are yours. Guard them. Name them. Question them. Recognize manipulation when it creeps in. Set boundaries. Build awareness. Protect your inner self. Because once control is lost, reclaiming it isn't just difficult. It's horrifyingly slow, painful, and sometimes incomplete. Even if you survive, even if you think you've won, the manipulator leaves traces. Shadows. Doubts. Echoes. But if you fight, you can reclaim your mind. You can resist the subtle hands that tug at your psyche. You can walk through the world without someone else deciding what you feel. Pay attention to your feelings. Because someone else is always paying attention to them. And if you don't, you may one day discover, too late, that the person you've been all this time was never really yours.